Let's get a divorce. What? Why? I asked, my surprise quickly giving way to a sense of resignation. I'm taking over my lover's company, so I don't need you anymore, my husband Andrew declared triumphantly. His words hit me like a heavy blow, but part of me was relieved that he was finally confessing his affair and bringing up the topic of divorce. Okay, I don't really care, I replied, maintaining my composure. Here's the divorce paper. I handed him the divorce papers I had prepared and kept in a drawer for a moment like this. My name is Violet Price, and I am a 30-year-old office worker. Andrew and I had been married for 3 years. We first crossed paths on a blind date arranged by a mutual friend. Andrew's assertiveness had initially drawn me in, and our frequent dates eventually led to a proposal and marriage. Throughout our dating phase and early in our marriage, Andrew was always kind and a perfect gentleman. I had high hopes for a happy life together. However, as time passed, I realized that some aspects of our married life were different from my expectations. The most glaring issue was Andrew's complete aversion to housework and chores. Our daily routine involved dining out or consuming pre-made meals from shops. Andrew rarely ventured into the kitchen, even when he lived on his own before we were married. He admitted that his mother had occasionally come over to clean for him. Consequently, I found myself shouldering all the household responsibilities and chores, despite occasional pleas for his assistance. To be fair, Andrew never complained when I had to work late, resulting in him having a late dinner. I appreciated that he didn't give me a hard time about it, but the physical workload of managing everything on my own began to wear me down. I coped by occasionally buying prepared foods and cutting back on certain chores whenever possible. Despite the imbalance in our domestic duties, our relationship was relatively normal. We enjoyed each other's company and had meaningful conversations. Still, I couldn't help but feel that the burden of housework was taking a toll on me. As the years passed, I had hoped that our relationship would evolve, especially if we were to have children. However, Andrew's confession about his affair and his desire for a divorce shattered any remaining illusions I had about our marriage. We were unable to have a child as we had hoped. Concerned that one of us might be the cause, I suggested to my husband that we undergo tests and explore infertility treatments. To my surprise, my husband's reaction was unexpected. "We don't have to have kids, right?" he said casually. I was taken aback by his statement, as I had always assumed that most couples wanted children. It dawned on me that perhaps he had a different perspective on parenthood. I cautiously asked him for the reason behind his reluctance. He stumbled over his words, offering vague explanations. I couldn't help but feel disillusioned by his response. It wasn't that he had a valid reason for not wanting children, it was more of an uncertain and ambiguous stance. At the same time, I sensed that having a child with someone who felt so half-hearted about it wouldn't lead to a happy family. I sighed and conceded, "I understand. We won't pursue having children." My husband visibly relaxed, and his relief only deepened my disappointment. Not only did he not want children, but I also shouldered the majority of the household responsibilities. To make matters more complex, without wanting to hurt his pride, I knew that my income significantly surpassed his. I had essentially become the primary breadwinner of our household. As if this wasn't enough strain on our relationship, our communication dwindled over time. My husband became increasingly absorbed in his phone, often choosing to spend his days off with friends, leaving me alone at home. Our weekends together grew quieter, with his silence casting a pall over our shared meals. The situation had deteriorated to a point where I couldn't help but consider the possibility of ending our marriage. It was during this challenging period that I stumbled upon something profoundly unsettling. One Saturday night, as my husband was out drinking with his friends, I received an unexpected text message from one of my best friends, Maya. She informed me that she and her husband were celebrating their wedding anniversary at an upscale restaurant, and to my surprise, my husband, Andrew, had just walked in with an unfamiliar woman. Maya's message sent shockwaves through me. Could my husband really be having an affair with another woman? I couldn't believe it, especially since he had never taken me to such an elegant restaurant or shared a moment like that with me. Maya's keen observations made it clear that it wasn't merely a professional or friendly outing. It had all the hallmarks of a romantic encounter. As my anger simmered, it suddenly clicked. His reluctance to have children, frequent weekend outings with friends, and his obsession with his phone, all the signs seemed to point to infidelity. I chastised myself for not suspecting it earlier. However, I refused to jump to conclusions without concrete evidence, so I promptly hired a private investigator to look into the matter. Until I could unequivocally confirm my husband's affair, I clung to a glimmer of hope. Yet, the reality was harsh. Several weeks later, I received the investigators' findings, and they unequivocally showed my husband's involvement with another woman. I was stunned and devastated. Despite our recent differences and communication breakdowns, I still loved my husband and wanted to believe in him. However, his actions had betrayed my trust. I couldn't fathom how he could so easily engage in an affair with another woman. Moreover, it appeared that he frequently wined and dined his lover at various upscale restaurants. Was he really willing to spend so much money on her? As I pondered this, I finally remembered something my husband had been urging me to do for the past 6 months. He had requested that I contribute more to the household because he wanted to send money to his parents. As I was the higher earner in our household, my husband had requested that I contribute more to our finances. I didn't have any particular aversion to my in-laws, and my own parents had already passed away, leaving me with no close relatives to support financially. So I agreed to my husband's request, not suspecting that he intended to divert the money to his lover. Realizing this, I grew increasingly disenchanted with my husband, wondering how far he would exploit me for his own benefit. I also chastised myself for not seeing through his deceit earlier. Thus, I made the decision to prepare for a possible divorce. My first step was finding a new place to live. I no longer wanted to reside in a house that would serve as a constant reminder of my husband's betrayal. Despite my busy work schedule, I dedicated time to visit real estate agencies during moments when my husband met with his friends or his lover, searching for a suitable place to live on my own. It took me a month, but I finally secured a new residence. With that accomplished, I turned my attention to seeking revenge on my husband. I retained the services of a lawyer and made all necessary preparations. Then, one day, my husband summoned me to the living room for a conversation. I was surprised since he rarely initiated discussions with me. I sensed something unusual was afoot. As I waited on the sofa, my husband wore an annoyed expression, then dropped a bombshell: "Let's get a divorce." It caught me completely off guard, and I feigned ignorance about his motives. I asked, "What? Why?" expecting him to outline his plan to end our marriage. His response, however, left me dumbfounded. "I'm taking over my lover's company," he declared casually, "so I don't need you anymore. Thanks for supporting me all this time. You've not only been a high earner but also an excellent homemaker, and you've contributed significantly to my life. But I won't require your services any longer. Now I'll have a beautiful young wife and a promising future as a CEO. I'm truly living the dream. I apologize for any inconvenience this may cause you, but I hope you won't hold a grudge against me." My husband said these words with a triumphant expression on his face. Personally, I was somewhat relieved that he had initiated the divorce discussion and confessed about his lover on his own. I responded, "Okay, I don't really care. Here's the divorce paper." As I handed him the divorce papers I had prepared, his eyes widened in surprise. He stammered, "What the hell? Aren't you surprised by this situation? And when did you even prepare the divorce papers?" I replied calmly, "Well, your recent attitude toward me has been distant, you know? That's why I assumed we were heading for a divorce. Plus, it would be more convenient for you if we got divorced early." My husband, still taken aback, gradually broke into a grin. "I didn't expect you to be so understanding, but thanks, I guess. Thanks for everything until now. Well, enjoy your single life to the fullest." My husband appeared to be reveling in his newfound freedom. I maintained a facade of calm and continued the conversation. "Have you already spoken to your lover's father?" I inquired. He seemed momentarily caught off guard. "Oh, no, not yet. But she told me that it's decided the man she chooses will be the CEO. So since I'm going to marry her, it's a done deal that I'll become the CEO, you know." I nodded and offered my well wishes, saying, "I see. Well, I wish you all the best." He beamed with enthusiasm, exclaiming, "Oh, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life." Little did he know the challenges he would face in the near future. I silently observed my husband, who I considered an idiot, as he packed his belongings and left for his lover's place. I struggled to stifle my laughter until he had completely vacated the house. Soon after, I sold the house and completed my own move. The next phase of my revenge against my husband was about to begin. My plan was straightforward. I sent a certified letter detailing the affair to my husband's workplace and to his lover's parents' home. With this, my revenge against my husband was set in motion. All that was left for him was to destroy his own life. Sure enough, a few days after I had sent the certified letters, my phone rang, and it was my husband on the line. "Hello," I answered. Hey, what the hell did you do? Why did you send a certified letter to my workplace and her parents' house?" I replied casually, "Huh? Well, why wouldn't I send them? You had an affair behind my back, you know." My husband seemed confused. An affair? I thought you forgave me and my lover. I couldn't help but scoff. Are you stupid? Where would anyone simply forgive those who betrayed a marriage and step aside as if nothing happened? No, that's not how it works. But how did you even know where her parents lived before I confessed? My husband asked, his tone growing anxious. I revealed my secret, saying, I hired a professional investigator to look into your affair. I obtained information about your lover, so I knew she was the daughter of the president of a company and her family's address. My husband's frustration was palpable. How can this be? What happened when you sent the certified letter to her parents' house? With a mischievous grin, I replied, well, yes, because of you, I'm in a lot of trouble. She didn't know I was married, so I secretly broke up with you, divorced you, and tried to be with her. But since you sent a certified letter to her parents' house, they found out about the affair, and now I'm in a tight spot. She's furious that she was cheated on, and her father has filed a complaint with the CEO of my company where I work. Her father's company was an important business partner of ours. I couldn't help but add, oh, too bad. This is all your fault. You better take responsibility for this. My husband, sounding incredulous, retorted, huh? What the hell are you saying? You were the one who betrayed me and had an affair behind my back, right? It was a small victory in my revenge plan, and I was relishing every moment of it. I only made a legitimate request. I'll make sure you pay my alimony. And no way. There's no way I can pay for your alimony after I got fired from my job. Well, I couldn't care less about that. Get a job right now and pay me back every little bit you can. You've got to be kidding me. I'll go to your place right now and force you to live with me. You know where I live. Huh? What the hell are you saying? You're living at our house that we bought together, right? Our house? You only see things in your own convenient way, don't you? I bought that house in my name, so I already sold it. Oh no way. Then where am I supposed to go now that I've been kicked out of our house? I don't know. You're a grown man, so do something about it on your own. Okay, well, I'm gonna hang up then. Hey, wait, don't hang up. I hung up the phone and blocked the call, not caring about my husband's panicked voice. Just as I wanted, my husband lost everything, and I felt a sense of relief. Afterward, I officially filed a claim for alimony through my lawyer. I heard that my husband was now living in a cheap apartment while working at a part-time job, desperately trying to pay the alimony. He also attempted to ask his parents for help, but since I had informed them about the money I had given him to send to his parents, they were furious and decided to cut ties with their own son. Therefore, my husband seemed to be living a lonely and financially strained life, having been abandoned by his own parents. Meanwhile, I was living comfortably in my new place and excelling in my job. I had recently been promoted, and my salary had increased even more. I was contemplating taking up a new hobby and enjoying a luxurious life. Andrew turned out to be a cowardly husband, attempting a secret divorce and pursuing a better marriage. Perhaps it's actions like these that make a scumbag husband after all. I was relieved that I had been able to get revenge on my scumbag husband. Now, I hope to find a wonderful man and embark on a new chapter in my life.